All right, friends, welcome to another Ask a Bhante. It's been a while, I know. So hopefully, at least for a little while, I'll be able to get back to doing these on some kind of a regular schedule. And we have a question today from Kala. And it's do you have any advice for corpse contemplation and contemplation of death / decomposition meditation? What should one be watchful or avoid to practice safely? So the first thing here, the very first thing when it comes to this is understanding the correct mindset to have to do these practices. It's very common that there's a lot of misconceptions with these practices. And I think a lot of these misconceptions have led to the view that, for instance, these practices are not good for lay people, or lay people should not do these things. And it's not helped by, people like Bhikkhu Bodhi, who translates, a lot of these, relate the Pali words related to these things as like repulsive or revulsion, right? Which actually is technically accurate. The only problem is in English. See, with English, what happens is we add extra connotations onto a word, right? So technically, a word might be repulsion or revulsion, but what that means is going against or pushing away. Not like, oh God, it's disgusting. I'm trying to disgust myself out, right? Right, which is a common misconception that people have regarding these practices. It's like, oh yeah, it's really, it's supposed to be done so that we can gross ourselves out, so that, we get rid of our sexuality, which is false, right? The way that you abandon your sexuality is not by grossing yourself out. It's through wisdom, it's through understanding. And that's what these practices are meant to do. That's what these practices are for. These practices are not meant to be some kind of short-term, temporary, willpower, forceful thing to stop yourself from doing, to stop yourself from having any kind of sexuality. That's not what these do. These slowly over time allow you to see things as they are. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Pali for this is Patikula Manasikara. Patikula means to consider the opposite, right? It can also mean like revulsion, it can also mean that. But the way it means also is the opposite, right? And so Manasikara means to consider, to contemplate. So the Buddha is saying here, the practice is literally called consider the opposite. What, the opposite of what? Well, in the Sutta Delicate, in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha says that he reflected and he saw that he had, and we all have, an intoxication with health, an intoxication with youth, an intoxication with life. So we have an intoxication with this body, and we want it healthy and youthful, right? We're intoxicated, we're drugged, we're infatuated. And so the Buddha is, saying, okay, now consider the opposite. Consider what this body really is. This body is made up of parts, made up of elements. After this body dies, it will decay. Right? These are the main reflections that you find in Satipatthana. And so, as you practice them, the right mindset, the right attitude is important. And the Buddha gives a simile under Patikula Manasikara, which is the parts of the body, This is the simile. This simile is often overlooked, but it's so important. This simile sets the tone for this practice. Right? And the simile is of a person who has good eyesight, and they see a bag, and the bag is filled with various rice and grains and beans, and they pick out a bag. Oh, this is hill rice, this is white rice, this is mung bean, this is garbanzo bean, whatever, all these different beans. And a person with eyes that can see clearly, and they see clearly, they clearly comprehend, they clearly understand that this is a bean, such and such a bean, this is such and such a rice. And when I teach this, I always say, well, I ask the question, what's missing? What's missing from that simile? Oh, this is a mung bean. Oh, I hate mung bean. Oh, this is a garbanzo. Oh, I like garbanzo bean. Oh, this is red rice. I don't like red rice. Oh, this is white rice. Oh, white rice is really good. Right? What's missing is likes and dislikes. What's missing is, ooh, this is nice. Ooh, this is disgusting. Right? All of that is gone in this simile. That doesn't exist. It's just simply understanding what this body is. That's the mindset. And if you keep that mindset, then you'll be able to do it safely and wisely, and it will be very beneficial. Think of like a graph. All right, so a graph on one side is complete love, infatuation, intoxication with the body. On the other side is complete disgust, hatred of the body. Right? You don't want either of those extremes. You want to see things as they are. You want to understand what this body is. That's the point of the practice. That's the mindset. That's what you're trying to do. Trying to see this. So if you're too far infatuated, then you want to move towards the middle. If you're too disgusted and averse, that's not good either. You want to move towards the middle. Right? That's not good. Now, as I was saying, it's a common practice that, you'll see, like, especially like this is a big thing among young guys who are, full of testosterone and sexuality and things like that. And the young guys who want to be a monk, they're like, oh, I'm going to practice this, gross out. I'm going to force out my sexuality. I see a beautiful woman. It's like, oh, yeah, gross. Visualizations of the person being like what's under the skin and all these things. And that has its place. And its place is this. If you're going to like rape this person or like do something really unskillful and bad, then yes. Really use a crush mind with mind, break out, the disgustingness, make yourself as disgusted as possible to stop you from doing that unskillful act. But it's only a temporary thing. It's not true wisdom gained. True wisdom gained is by understanding things as they are. That's the important thing. So if you go into this practice understanding the attitude you're supposed to have, the mindset, and the purpose, then practice will grow. Practice will develop. This is a wonderful, beautiful practice. It does not need to be disgusting. As somebody who, I joke that when I was young, I would have my lunch and watch Operations on TV. This old channel, Discovery Health, would have like actual operations. So I just be, oh well, they're cutting into this, and I'd just be eating. People say I should have been a doctor, but so if you understand things, right? If you're not disgusted, it's just the body, right? A body urinates, a body defecates, a body bleeds, Bodies, smell. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just the way it is. That's what the practice allows you to do. It's just no need to be infatuated. No need to be distraught. It's just the body the way it is. And I'll close out this with the story to really hit home on the attitude, the mindset that we're supposed to have. There's this famous story in the Vinaya of the Buddha teaches mindfulness of death. And he says, bhikkhus, mindfulness of death is of great fruit and benefit. Practice mindfulness of death. Then he goes into seclusion. And then, a couple weeks later, a month later, he comes out, he looks around, and he goes to Ananda, Ananda, where did all the monks go? There used to be a lot more monks. Now there's few. What happened? And then Ananda relates to him this story of how the monks practiced and they became so disgusted with their bodies that they killed themselves, or they asked others to kill them. And, there's even the story of this poor guy, this poor layperson who gets asked to kill, and he kills one of the monks, and then he's so distraught. And he's like, I can't believe I killed a holy person, etc. And then Mara comes to him and says, no, you help them become awakened. This is very good. It's good karma for you. And so the guy goes, oh, okay. And he goes back and he says, who wants to die? And so he kills more, right? So it's like, and then the Buddha finds out about this, and his response is, bhikkhus, mindfulness of breathing is of great fruit and benefit, right? So you even see there, like mindfulness of breathing, if you are into the too disgusted aspect of it, come back. Mindfulness of breathing, calm, peaceful, tranquil, right? We don't want to be disgusted. We want to understand things as they are. That's the point of this practice. And it's a very beautiful, powerful practice that I recommend to anybody, lay or ordained. Even if you're a beginner meditator, then you can start out by doing the 5 subjects of contemplation. Right? Reflecting that I will grow old, I will get sick, I will die. I am subject to all these things. I will be separated from everyone I love. And I am the owner of my actions. Right? That's also mindfulness of death. That's mindfulness of understanding things as they are. Seeing the divine messengers. Reflecting on these things all the time. You can start out with that. And then eventually you can start visualizing your corpse decaying and things like that. You can move up to that point. All right, friends. Well, I think this is the end of this Ask a Bhante. So thank you, Kala, for that question. And if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, either for yourself or you think it's a good question to put on Ask a Bhante for people in the future, then please type the question in the comments or contact me in some other way. And then I'll have more questions to answer. So thank you very much. Sukhi Hotu. Practice well and be well.